wives reject him affection-wise because they are uncomfortable or they don't like it. That's not who they are. I'm sorry, but if you're rejecting someone's affection, your spouse, I don't see how that's going to help your relationship.
Shouldn't that be respectfully listened to instead of brushed away? Because this is the fact. Coercing affection doesn't mend a marriage, it shatters it further. And then Robyn, who only makes it worse with her tone-deaf commentary. She nonchalantly spouts off comments about stretch marks, as if that's even acceptable. Picture saying a woman's insecurities are a joke and hoping to come across as empathetic. No wonder people can't take her seriously, but it doesn't end there. Here's where it gets scary. The underlying message? If a wife says no, she's somehow undermining her marriage. That message isn't just insulting, it's dangerous, implying that women need to acquiesce to intimacy they don't want in order not to get left behind. That's not love, that's coercion. And I pray her daughter never buys into that twisted notion of what marriage should be. Now, Kody insists he keeps his private life private between wives. But let's be real, does anyone actually believe that? Janelle and Christine wouldn't tell Robyn a single thing willingly, so where is she getting her information? We're left with three unsettling possibilities. Either Robyn is fabricating stories, she's repeating what Kody told her, or both. And given Kody's track record with the truth, none of those options look good. So yes, either Robyn's lying, Kody's lying, or they both are. And meanwhile, Kody's out here openly telling Janelle he's no longer interested in Christine. He speaks ill of his wives when they're not present, and Robyn's more than happy to lap it up. She isn't innocent, she's an accomplice. And here's the kicker, Robyn's definition of affection? You have to return it. Excuse me? That's not marriage. That's entitlement. Wives aren't on call for whenever Kody feels like dropping by. They're human beings, not props in his romantic drama. And Robyn? She knows what she's saying. This isn't ignorance, it's strategy. Honestly, I don't think she deserves the calm, staged photos she's so desperately trying to uphold. She's enabled Kody for years, but I hope, when money runs out, she leaves. Because if anyone should be abandoned in the cold, it's him. And let's take a moment to ask something crucial. Why were these women uneasy? What precisely was Kody doing that they were desperate to step back? That's not a footnote. It's the entire story. Pushing away unwanted affection isn't betrayal. It's freedom. And Robyn behaving as if she has a backstage pass to everybody's bedroom? Creepy at best. And don't forget the way Robyn played. She convinced Kody on the entire purity plan, no premarital sex, but clearly she was highly trained in all outer course tricks of the trade in order to string him along. She had him wrapped around her finger before either of them uttered the word, I do. And once they were wed, he believed he'd struck it rich. A joke, but this mess didn't end there. If anything, it was just the beginning. Today's episode is packed with chaos, heartbreak, and a few hard truths. So buckle up. We're not holding back. Hey everyone, Elena here. Welcome back to Reality Nexus X. Let's dive deeper into the aftermath of this reality TV implosion. Maddie opened up recently in an interview and told us that all she desires is a quiet, stable life for her children. Honestly, after living the whirlwind they grew up with, who could blame her? Her words did make me wonder about Truly, and whether or not Christine can now provide her daughter with that much-needed gift, normalcy. Now residing in Utah, Truly is surrounded by relatives and now has a chance at stability. For the first time in the history of Brown family, a child may indeed finish in the same school district they started. That shouldn't be revolutionary, but in this family, it is. And here's something really sweet. When Truly goes off to college someday, she may return to the same house. That sort of continuity? Priceless. Christine is not going to disrupt her daughter's life in the middle of finals. She knows better. And now, with a stable, loving marriage to David Woolley, she's demonstrating truly what a genuine partnership is all about. One based on respect, not ego. Petty or not, I want David to be the man to walk truly down the aisle one day, because he came, and truly deserves that. She's been one of the most forgotten children in this whole saga, and if anyone needs to find peace, it's her. But not all the children had that opportunity. Consider Savannah. My heart aches for her. If she's the last daughter to come of age in the wreckage of Kody's failed fatherhood, that's a tragedy. He loved to boast about being a great dad, on camera, but off camera, he was largely absent, and when he did appear, it was absolute chaos. Savannah carried the brunt of his rage against Janelle's sons. She was in emotional crossfire she never volunteered for. And worst of all, nobody stood in her way. So here we are, a broken family, wives at breaking point, and children attempting to piece together normal lives from the rubble. If this isn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. No kid should ever have to relocate as much as Truly did following the Flagstaff debacle. The RV trick alone? That could have crushed most teens emotionally. Off-grid living may sound idyllic in concept, but when you're a child caught in the middle of it with no definable plan or end in sight, it's hell. So, yes, if Truly's life does turn out to be dull, that could be for the best. Stable, safe, predictable. Her life could finally be one that's active and full of curiosity, but also grounded and consistent. And as Kody continues to fade out of her day-to-day life, I wouldn't be surprised if he's completely absent by the time she turns 18. Except, of course, when the cameras are rolling and he needs to play the part of dad again. But let's not rewrite history just yet, because here's the thing. These last few years haven't been exactly peaceful for Truly. She was abruptly transferred to Utah back in 2021, with little warning. She found out about her parents' split once it was already over. Barely 6 months later, she was introduced to her mom's new beau, and then shortly after moved in with him. That's a lot of change for one kid to deal with. Yes, David's nice, and yes, Truly now has some extended family around. But let's be real, she's frequently been treated like a supporting character in Christine's big post-divorce glow-up. It pains me to say, but it shows. And then there's Tony. Oh boy, what is it with him always crossing the line? That cringe-worthy exchange where he obviously made Christine uncomfortable. He just wouldn't drop it. And to make matters worse, he brought Truly along for the ride. She was right there at the table, having to listen to his off-the-cuff remarks about Christine's dating life and online life. She didn't have to sit through that awkward train wreck. And did you catch all of their faces? Mitch's face was akin to wanting to disappear into the ground. Aspen and Isabel were each visibly embarrassed, second-hand embarrassment in real time. And Christine, oh poor Christine, was performing Olympic-level gymnastics in her head just to remain civil and not rock the boat. Honestly, though, I wish she'd set boundaries then and there. A good, this is not the time or place would have been plenty sufficient. It's infuriating to see Christine allow Mykelti and Tony consistently push boundaries. They're obsessed with attention, ready to be rude or awkward just to get their moment in the sun. Production has to put the brakes on filming them at this point. You can practically hear the sound of tires screeching every time they catch wind of a production crew making their way to Christine's residence. And let's be real, Tony and Mykelti are a pair in shock value paradise. They live off drama, whether it's deserved or not. Someone was joking the other day they'd love to see Tony do the same antics in front of his own mom and see how his dad responds. Honestly, same, because Tony's not around to have honest conversations. He's just needling people to see them get riled up. That strange remark he made about taking out a loan against one of the homes of the family to fund a wedding, that was not an offer seriously. It was simply provoking. Just like when he interrogates Christine about her sex life or dating life, he doesn't desire truthful replies. He just desires to see people squirm. And I say this having no experience of being a fan of unpleasant facts. I think people should say things that need saying. But this isn't Tony's style. He's not playing for clearness or progress. He's the high school kid who had to always comment on something really inappropriate just so he could be that kid. Occasionally, I wonder whether Christine is deliberately calm, because secretly, she knows the second Tony feels uneasy, he'll lean in further. She's not merely biting her tongue, she's juggling a ticking time bomb, and on emotional manipulation. Let's speak about Robyn. Did she truly just throw a victim tantrum about not being able to have the same sort of relationship with Mary that Mary does with Jen? Please. Mary did not believe her, and neither do we. She called Robyn out, dead on, stating, "You don't even call or text me anymore." And she was correct. Robyn can't even be bothered to send a text message, let alone organize a hangout. But rather than own up to it, Robyn attributed her lack of communication to her situation with Janelle. What? As if that is why she's been MIA since COVID. Let's be real. This is not forgetfulness. It's a pattern. And the fact that she attempted to spin it like she was the one who was being left out? The audacity. Even after Mary laid it out, explained to her that she felt like she was being ignored, Robyn kept freezing her out. Recall Easter? Another cold shoulder? Another excuse? Another time that Robyn made it all about her. And that's the gist of it. Robyn is draining. Nobody is beating a path to someone's door to be best friends with a victim player who cries at every disagreement, destroys relationships, manipulates individuals, and thinks friendship occurs through retail therapy or pouting on a chilly porch. And please, let's not even start with Robyn's tender-age children excuse. Her kids are what, 7 and 11? You'd think she was running a daycare for infants the way she goes on about it. Meanwhile, she's online shopping and barking orders at the nanny. But the second TLC cameras show up. Boom! Suddenly, she's Martha Stewart, gardening and baking like it's her full-time job. Give us a break. If the only time she appears or calls is when there's filming, how can that be considered a friendship, much less sisterhood? Robyn has officially won the worst sister-wife crown. Long live Queen Sabin. And that scene at Mary's house, remember it? Watching Solomon go down a slide? Robyn reacted like the poor kid was about to launch off a cliff. You'd think someone called 911. He's just trying to be a normal kid, but he's suffocating under the weight of Robyn's anxiety and Ariella's dramatics. Honestly, that boy needs his older brothers to bust him out before he forgets how to function on his own. Now she's even trying to edge Jen out of Mary's life? You've got to be kidding. This woman has zero shame. Robyn doesn't want real relationships unless they revolve around Kody and benefit her in some way. She expects people to chase after her, and when they stop, suddenly she's the poor, abandoned, misunderstood martyr. Yeah, okay, we're not falling for that act anymore. And on the subject of illusions, have you ever seen anything about Christine's height? I always used to think Padron was the odd one out in the family, being so tall. But seeing the last episode reminded me. Christine's tall too, nearly as tall as Kody, even when she's wearing flats. Probably for comfort, or more likely, to spare Kody's sensitive ego. It becomes even more apparent when she's standing alongside her brothers. They're a tall family. Padron blends in perfectly, and even the girls aren't far behind. It must positively burn Kody to be the shortest person in all the group photos. There's this one photo from Isabel's high school graduation. Kody's literally standing on his tiptoes. I wish I were kidding. And recall the Isabel surgery episode? The surgeon told her she could grow a few inches, and she was beaming at the prospect of reaching 6 feet. Kody, however, resembled someone who had a ghost in front of him. Typical Kody, intimidated by his own daughter's self-assurance. If I've got this straight, Peden stands about 6 feet 5 inches, and Isabel, post-op, is about 5 feet 11 inches. Kody can't measure up, and it's apparent. But let's not pretend that he's the only one envious. I've always envied being taller, too. Now, let's switch to Savannah and Brianna. If Savannah is ghosting Brianna, I don't think for a second it has anything to do with COVID. It's likely a lot more to do with Brianna's lovable red flag demeanor. Recall that RV tour? Brianna and her sister figured it was a good idea to roast Savannah's room, gave it some name befitting a dog. Genuine sisterly bonding, huh? But it's not simply a matter of one nasty comment. Savannah's been stuck with her dad fawning over Brianna, giving her attention, affection, praise, and, let's be honest, money. That's tough to swallow. And if Brianna loves to show it off, no wonder. So, no, I don't blame Savannah for avoiding visits, even when Isabel and Truly are present. Instead, she just has dinner with her dad every once in a while. Can you blame her? And let's be honest, Aurora and Brianna, bless their hearts, are mini Robins through and through. Always the victims. They can dish out the snark just fine, but the second someone pushes back, it's tears and dramatics all the way. Honestly, were Savannah and Brianna ever that close? I'm not buying Brianna's teary breakdown, but Savannah's indifference? That feels real. Other than that one cringe-worthy scene outside when Maddie was giving birth, I can't remember anything else about them being a strong bond. This family did not simply begin to fall apart when the parents divorced. They have been broken up for years. The show merely presents it like it's this new and exciting drama. In real life, Robyn's children have never quite been deeply involved with the others, particularly since the Flagstaff relocation. At first, they were pushed into singing Happy Birthday and hugging whomever had the most screen time. Nowadays, they're drilled into inventing their own mini-dramas, always getting to be the hurt party. In all honesty, I pity Robyn's children. Their every action seems staged, like they are pieces in whatever story Robyn and Kody are trying to create. There is nothing natural about it anymore, and let me leave it at this. I can tell you precisely when I first came to despise Kody Brown. Crystal clear. I'm rewatching Sister Wives. Yeah, I know, it's my guilty pleasure. And during season 1, episode 5, there's a scene that's all you need to know. Sweet, innocent Mary asks Kody to try imagining how he would feel if she paid attention to another man. His reply? It's just not something I'm comfortable imagining. That, right, there. 2 husbands, that's not right by God and nature, they tell us. Record scratch and me, my teenage self, screaming at the TV. Hypocrisy, anyone? The double standard is so thick you'd have to cut with a knife. One man with 4 wives? That's just great. But one woman with 2 husbands? Now that's a sin against God, nature, and, let's be real, Kody's sensitive ego. When Sister Wives premiered, I really believed their family situation could actually work. They were all adults, they were happy, and the children seemed well adjusted. Kody? Oh, he was a good husband and dad, apparently. What was I thinking? It turns out season 1 Kody was just being on his best behavior. And if that was his best behavior, yikes. Red flags were waving from episode number 1. The instant he glared directly into the camera with that condescending smirk and referred to himself as a repeat offender, I should have known. Accumulating wives is not a game or some party trick, Kody. Polygamy is serious business, not something to be treated like some novelty act. But come on, the creator's actual reason for keeping us all tuning in is for the shade. Reading and commenting on Reddit about this mess of a man? Gold. Kody might believe the show is a success, but let's be real. It's essentially a never-ending roast on live television. If that TLC paycheck is worth being the joke of America's group chat, then good for him, I suppose. And then there's that old Kody moment when he learns Joseph Smith was polygamous and shared wives with other men. You should have seen his face. Like, yeah, Kody, initially, really it was more of an egalitarian situation. But naturally, the system evolved into a misogynistic, self-serving disaster. Kody standing on a soapbox of delusion, not theology or history. Just watched season 15, the one where Janelle's mom dies. There's Kody, white-knuckling the steering wheel and sweating bullets before he gets a quick COVID test. He's praying to God because he vowed to Robyn that he'd be COVID-free for Christmas. If he's positive, he'll never be forgiven. Seriously, never forgiven for showing up at his mother-in-law's funeral or his sister mom's. Now the family tree resembles a tumbleweed. But no, Robyn doesn't have a death grip on his manhood, not on your life. Then Kody is shocked when others laugh when he gets COVID from one of Robyn's children in his own home. Let's not forget that this is the same man who wouldn't apologize to his buddy Ken because it would make him seem weak, as his wife was calling the shots. Just not this wife, apparently. But sure, Kody, it wasn't Robyn's COVID regulations that destroyed your relationship with your sons. Nope, it was completely all you. Whatever keeps you sleeping at night, man. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care and lots of love to all of you.